So I've just been playing No Man's Sky for a little while now, and with the RTX 5080 in my last video, I was a little bit disappointed, not really by the GPU performance, but just by the general game performance, especially when I was getting those harsh stutters and things like that. But I have been playing a little bit more of No Man's Sky with this new 5080 GPU, and of course on my same CPU, the 5800X 3D. And I can't help but think I was maybe a little bit too harsh in that video with this game. So generally I've still been playing on that 72Hz, 72 FPS native, and it's probably not as bad as I was originally making out in that video overall. And that was sort of the first time I've been in, well, I've been in a couple of times before I made that video, but that was really the first time I've been in for any length of time. And so, oh, nice little cave system here. So I was a little bit disappointed overall, but like I say, not really in the GPU. And the reason really was just because of those harsh stutters, and because I've got fpsVR running at the bottom of the screen. I haven't really been in No Man's Sky a lot since I got my 5080, other than today and yesterday, I think, without fpsVR running. And you do get in this state of just becoming a little bit obsessed with the numbers. And so whenever I was getting those really harsh stutters in the game, as you could see clearly in that video that I published last time on No Man's Sky, it was just really jumping out at me. And that's the thing, I think sometimes you can get a little bit obsessed with just looking at the numbers on fpsVR, rather than just going in without it running and just seeing how it feels when you're playing without it. And I've been doing that, and I do think actually overall it's not too bad. The other thing is, on Tuesday I'm going to publish a video with Elite Dangerous, which I was really impressed. It's the legacy version of Elite Dangerous, this video. It's all about playing the legacy version of Elite with my new GPU, and I was really impressed with how it was performing overall. But then I was looking at the numbers on fpsVR on both my No Man's Sky video and in the Elite Dangerous Legacy video. Now I was coming out at around 0.7% reprojection ratio on Elite Dangerous, and I said in that video that's really not that bad at all. And then when I looked at the reprojection ratio on my No Man's Sky video, it was only 0.9%, I think it was, maybe up to that 1%. That's not much higher, and yet I was really disappointed with it. Now the reason for that is, of course, you know, when you look at it on that baseline of that's the average you're getting throughout your entire play session. I mean, look at that looks stunning. This looks really good here. But when you're looking at it through that microscope of, you know, 0.7% versus 0.9%, there's not a lot of difference. But when you're playing it and you're getting those harsh stutters, most of the time No Man's Sky is smooth, and then you get those harsh stutters, that's when it jumps out at you. Elite Dangerous, those stutters are minor, but maybe appearing more often, and I think that's why it feels more consistent. And I suppose that goes back to my original point with No Man's Sky. It's about the level of consistency you get, rather than getting those harsh stutters, periods of it being really smooth and then another harsh stutter. That's why overall it just doesn't feel quite as good. And I stand by that, really. I mean, that is still the way it goes. But I have found that just playing without fpsVR running, it just feels, overall I don't need to obsess as much over the numbers. I think that's really all it comes down to. And look at this, flying from the moon over there down to this planet within seconds, and it's all rendering in. So it's doing a lot of different things, this game is. So I understand why those stutters appear and why it's difficult for the devs to resolve those kinds of stutters. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to how it feels to play. But yeah, I guess this is just to say that I do think I was a little bit harsh on No Man's Sky in that last video, and it is still like a joy. It's a joy to play, really, with this new GPU. I do think that I mean, Elite Dangerous and No Man's Sky, they're offering completely different things. On the surface, they might look a little bit similar. They're both space games, of course, but they feel completely different to play. Elite Dangerous is a little bit more slower paced overall, I would say. Like, going up from a planet's surface into space and descending from space to a planet's surface is much more of a long-winded process and more realistic and more simulation-like. No Man's Sky is, of course, not going for that kind of thing. But yeah, generally, this is still through virtual desktop on my Quest 3. Generally, like I said at the beginning of the video, I do tend to run at those 72 FPS native, but I am playing on godlike resolution now because the GPU wasn't really struggling last time I played No Man's Sky, I have decided to push it up to godlike resolution. Still running DLSS 4 on quality, and yeah, it's given a really good experience overall. You still get those stutters though, that's what I will say. Let's take a look at that planet, see what that one's like. I mean, I'm sure nobody really analyses my videos that much, but it was just interesting to me to look at the numbers where the reprojection ratio on Elite Dangerous Legacy was 0.7, and I was sort of quite glowing about that. You'll see that on Tuesday, but in the No Man's Sky one, I was disappointed at 0.9% reprojection. So yeah, it was just an interesting thing. I think it all comes down to, as I mentioned, consistency and just how abrupt all of those spikes are. But gliding over the surface here, and there's no stutters whatsoever actually. Let me land, get out and see what it's like to wander around. See, none of these, there was some stutter there, but see, some of these planets that are in this system just don't seem to have a lot on them anyway. Maybe I should go to a different system. In fact, I'll probably do that in a moment. Let's go and check this one out anyway. So that's the thing, this game, if you're on a relatively barren planet like this, you can get generally consistent performance anyway. It's where you get the fluctuations, you've got a lot of fauna or flora and lots of different things going on a planet where you'll get a lot more inconsistent performance. Let's nip to the space station first in this system, and then we'll go to another system and we'll see if we can see how that runs, if we get something with a bit more detail on the planet. Running on this resolution though, the godlike resolution on virtual desktop, over 3000 by 3000 per eye, it's like pin sharp really, this game. It really does look good from that respect. And also I'm running the AV1 codec. I don't notice very much compression at all, and this is the area where you'd notice a lot of the compression, because where these lights are going around, where you're warping from area to area within a system, that's where it really shows the compression artifacts. And I've not really experienced that even on the HEVC codec that I used before I got my 5080. I didn't really notice a lot of that even then. It's been a long time since I've noticed that kind of compression in this game. So just coming in to land on the station, this is where we got a lot of stutter in my previous video, and yeah, it's perfectly fine this time. Let's go up onto the platform, and as you walk around here, sometimes you will get some stutter, but it's handling it pretty well. Let's go to another system and see if we can find a more interesting planet to explore. Okay, just walked into a new system. Looks like there's a bit of a battle going on here. Can take part in that if I wanted to, but I might just stay clear this time. Let's have a look at some of these planets anyway. So we've got a mechanical planet. That might be worth having a look. Okay, what we've got there, Lost Blue Planet. Okay, we're going to go and have a look at that one anyway. Let's see what that one's all about. Okay, what we got going on here? So I should also say that since I made that last video on No Man's Sky, I have increased some of the GPU dependent settings as well in the menu. As I say, I'm also running at this high resolution, but the GPU still isn't struggling, to be honest. It's still well within the limits really. All these stutters seem to be because of the CPU side still. What the heck is that? I don't think I've seen a pole like that before. Or maybe I have. Oh, so we've got another little cave system here. Let's go into the water. So yeah, really, I mean, generally consistent. I can still see the stutters now and again, but not having those numbers on the screen all the time, throwing them in my faces, it's probably not as bad as I made out. So yeah, I'd say I'm generally okay with the performance now anyway. I think it's as good as really I could realistically expect, and it's not ruining the experience by any means. But yeah, I'll still look for the updates as well as they come out, because they can affect performance, either drastically decrease performance or sometimes improve performance in various ways as well. So there's always hope from that point of view. But at the end of the day, I think the CPU side is still holding me back a little bit in this game, but generally I'm okay with it now. Yeah. So there we go, my first YouTube apology video. Sorry.
Sorry. Have you got any requests? Anyone you want to say hello to?
But that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you very much for watching anyway. Please subscribe if you like more videos like this, and I'll see you next time.